Hello dear friends, short video to the point. I just read an interesting email from a dear friend of ours who's now got recurrent angina pain. A beautiful friend, but one who loops from crisis to crisis, and now her body is becoming a disaster zone. And for the past 3.5 years we've tried to befriend this beautiful light worker. But sadly, she refuses to surrender her heart. Why? Because she's insecure. And because her mind is dictating to her heart that she can deal with this better than anybody else. And what you get in conversation is that I know better than you, so back off. And isn't that tragic? Here you have an intelligent woman, a gifted light worker, but who's locked in a mindset of fear and who's going from crisis to crisis. Well, I know from my own journey, often you have to hit rock bottom before the sunlight can release you. So what advice could you give someone like this dear friend? None. Because if they're not willing to do anything and surrender their heart, which is the thing to do, then it's not best offering any advice. Or they ask for advice and then they realize that's what they should have done. But that's a looping experience, as we say in counseling, because they know what to do in their heart, but there are many voices in their head screaming at them, don't do this and don't do that, and who do you think you are? Don't be such a fool. We can work this out. Well, those voices have worked it out for her, because now she's got heart problems because her beautiful heart is being torn apart through fear, indecisiveness, loneliness, and living in a recession where work is hard to find, bills have to be paid, and animals have to be fed. So how do you support prayer? What I can do is to walk with my dear friend in love and hold them in love. But until they initiate the first step, which is I surrender my heart to the Supreme, until they use their gift of free will, then we can talk till the cows come home. Or as Jesus said, don't feed your pearls to swine. Not that my friend is a swine. But there comes a time in all our journeys when we know we have to backtrack. We have to allow people their space, not to process, that's ego dictating, but to allow their heart feel the pangs, embrace the struggle, but face it in love. Because fear is an illusion. And the more fearful we become, it's because we're feeding it our energy. So my advice to my friend in an email was, please don't ask me what you should do, because I refuse to go down the same route over and over and over. And that hurts me, because I am so fond of this beautiful soul. But they are destroying themselves through willful neglect, fed by fear. But when they come and we make them welcome, we feed them, we water them. But the previous video I did, you can bring a horse to the well, but you can't make it drink. God created this beautiful child, and God knows their needs better than I do. But if you're in that situation today where you're locked in a mindset of fear, where your heart is breaking and your body is rebelling to that unnecessary stress, then you have to take responsibility, don't you, for the symptoms of your unwillingness. I know I've nursed for many years, and I've met a good cross-section of society. But one of the things I loved about my journey as a nurse was night duty, because it was a time when it allowed me, in the quiet periods, to go and sit with those whom I sensed in my heart were troubled. Many of the new generation of nurses who had their degrees couldn't pick up on that, but I was trained in the old school to come to the patient through my senses, to sense, and always our senses would be correct, would be right. And if we are around someone who is like this, hold them in love, and when we hug them, ask the Supreme to touch them. But as soon as they start engaging in, what should I do? It's so easy to give advice. It's so easy to tell people to go and pull themselves together as if they're a pair of curtains. You're not a pair of curtains, nor am I. So why should we tell people to pull themselves together? If they can't pull themselves together because they don't know how, because of fear, then we can use the greatest gift that we've been given, prayer. We can pray with them, we can pray for them, and not give up on them, because clearly they've given up on themselves. A broken heart that is wounded is a heart crying out for unconditional love. And those many voices in the head that's dictating strong negative language, they need to be healed as well. And the book from Teresa of Avila, The Interior Castle, is a book I would recommend you read, because it takes you on a journey using different rooms in a mansion. And it's so beautiful because it looks at the journey of your soul, your gateway to God. It's not about religion, it's a spiritual journey of reawakening your love affair with your first love. A broken heart is searching for that love. And sometimes we can be catalyst in just walking alongside one who is wounded. But there are so many people today who have a panacea for all ills, excluding God. God's love is the key to unlocking a wounded heart. And when I use the word God, you're probably saying, oh, he's a religious nut. If you knew me, you would know I am not a religious nut. I'm mad, absolutely mad. And I have the diagnosis to prove it. I speak my truth from love, based on many, many years of struggling myself through fear, low self-worth, low self-esteem. I'm amazed that I'm still alive in managing severe depression and chronic back pain. There are moments when my heart feels crushed, but then I surrender again into the loving arms of Mother Mary, the Lord Christ, my teacher, the company of heaven, and my Father, Mother God. It is their love for me that empowers me, live moment by moment, not day by day, moment by moment. And though at times my heart can be wounded by others through their unkindness and their unfair criticism, or misjudging me, I forgive. And in my forgiveness, I'm releasing all that negativity. But the key to self-healing a wounded heart is to surrender your heart to love and ask for help. And the company of heaven will heal your broken heart. Peace.